The beginning of the movie, we're shown the screen of a computer which someone is trying to log into. After a number of failed attempts, the person successfully logs in. He types in his Wi-Fi password which automatically activates the computer's camera. We're thus shown the face of the person who seems to be surprised at this sudden activation of the camera and quickly turns it off. He logs into his Gmail account, which reveals him as Matthias O'Brien. He then downloads an application called Papaya into the computer and texts his girlfriend, Amaya, asking her to get on a call with them. When Amaya, his deaf and mute girlfriend, video calls him, he shows her the Papaya app, which turns his voice to sign. Amaya, however, seems to be displeased by this and starts signing to him very fast. Matthias watches her blankly, unable to understand her, which frustrates Amaya even more. She leaves her seat for a moment and tells him not to go anywhere. Matthias agrees to wait, but his laptop freezes and the call disconnects. Matthias texts Amaya several times and then calls her again, but she neither responds to the messages nor answers his call. Serena then texts Matthias and tells him to get on Skype for game night. Matthias then tells Amaya about this and logs into Skype. He starts receiving several messages on the Facebook account of the previous owner and switches to it to check. He goes through the previous owner's profile, who's called Nora CIV, but finds no face there. He then opens Nora's messages to find several texts from different girls asking for a fun time. While reading these messages, Matthias is called by his friends who ask him to join their game of Cards Against Humanity. His friends remark that his camera is extremely good and clear. Matthias laughs and tells him that he bought a great new laptop. A group congratulates him and then continues the game. Matthias's laptop freezes once more and the call disconnects. Matthias rejoins the call to see AG blabbering about conspiracy theories. He texts Damon and tells him about the frequent crashes. Damon tells him that the full storage must be causing the problem. Matthias checks the storage and realizes that it is indeed full. He tells Damon about this and remarks that it's weird that the storage is full since there are no files on the computer. Damon tells him to use an app called DaisyDisk to locate the heavy files. The group starts joking and laughing on the call while Matthias launches DaisyDisk. The analysis reveals that a huge part of the computer storage is taken up by a hidden folder. Damon then gives Matthias some instructions, which reveal two untitled folders on the desktop. Matthias explores one of the hidden folders to find 3 files inside called Account, The River, and an untitled subfolder. The heaviest among the 3 is the untitled subfolder, taking up to 900 gigabytes. He goes through the contents of the folder to find numerous senseless videos inside. On the Skype call, AG tells everyone he's bought new speakers and starts blaring extremely loud music on them. Serena and Nari reveal that they have been engaged. The others listen in awe as Nari explains how Serena had proposed to her by putting a ring in her tea. Matthias asks Serena if her mother knows, but this question ends up saddening Serena. Nari explains that Serena's mother is in critical condition at the hospital. The others quickly lighten the mood after this and change the subject. As the others excitedly talk about Serena and Nari's engagement, Matthias starts watching a video of him and Amaya. Amaya calls Matthias and tells him that she's not happy with the fact that he isn't willing to make an effort for her. She tells him that she wanted him to learn to sign, but he keeps looking for shortcuts instead. As Amaya is still talking, Nora's account starts blowing up by several text messages from an Erica Dune on Facebook. Matthias starts looking at them instead of giving Amaya his full attention, which infuriates Amaya and she disconnects the call. More texts from Erica's account reveal to Matthias that she's Nora, the person whose laptop he stole. Matthias initially tries to tell her that he bought the laptop, but when Nora asks him to show her the ad, he realizes he's been busted. He tells her that he'll leave the laptop where he found it and prepare to head out. However, just as he's about to leave, several new messages on Nora's account grab his attention. He gets curious and opens them to see a Karen68 praising Nora's work and asking if she's up for another task. After finding absolutely no data on Karen's profile, Matthias gets suspicious and asks Karen what he wants. Karen tells him he can't tell him on Facebook, thus he should hop on the river. Matthias asks Damon if he knows about the river, but Damon tells him he's never heard of it. Matthias runs a river from the hidden folder to see the application connect through several VPNs and open to an animated visual of a boat moving over a river. Matthias's friends notice his confused expressions and asks him what's wrong. Matthias shares his screen and shows it to them. Damon mentions that the river connected in an untraceable way. AJ remarks that it must be an app used to access a dark web, a place where all the evil and illegal activities happened. A chat box then opened with several active users named Karen, found by numbers. After a Google search, Matthias learned that Karen is a ferryman in Greek mythology who takes the souls of the deceased, cross a river joining the world of the living and the dead. Matthias finally reveals to his friends that he took the laptop from a cyber cafe he'd been working at, as the laptop has been sitting in the lost and found section for a long time. He then shows them the owner's Facebook profile. Damon points out the name reads Karen backwards. Thus, the owner of this laptop, Nora CIV, is actually Karen the Fourth. Matthias starts telling them everything from the beginning. He shows them the videos which AJ remarks have been made without people's knowledge. Matthias opens a file called Account to find bitcoins worth $10 million inside. Just then, Karen68 sends Matthias a message via the river. Matthias asks him some questions about the assigned task and learns that Karen68 wants him to kidnap and poacher a girl. The group freaks out and tells Matthias to close the app. The screen starts blowing up with messages from Erica, but on his friend's advice, Matthias doesn't respond. Inside the videos folder, Matthias also finds a folder named Contributions, which shows several videos of kidnapped girls being tortured. In the most recent contribution video, they see a man sneaking into a girl's room while she's asleep. He casually walks around the room and smiles into the camera before the video ends. Nari remarks that since the most recent girl was still in her bed, she must still be unharmed. She suggests they call the police. Before she too is kidnapped, Matthias gets a call from Amaya, but when he answers, he sees nobody at the other end. He sees Kelly, Amaya's friend, in the house and manages to catch her attention. Kelly starts talking to him, but the screen abruptly blacks out. When the video turns back on, a figure clad in black appears behind Kelly and suffocates her to death. The screen pixelates and Matthias gets a message from Amaya's account saying he needs to return the laptop. The assassin then tells him not to mention anything to Amaya and goes to hide Kelly's body. All his messages disappear as he leaves. When Amaya walks out of the shower, Matthias catches her attention and tells her that Kelly left already. When Amaya goes to get changed, the assassin returns. He tells Matthias to call Amaya over to his place, saying he'll follow her and they'll both trade at his place. He then leaves after telling him that none of his friends should know about this or call the police. Matthias texts Amaya and asks her to come over. He notices that on Skype, his friends are planning to report the case. He stops them and convinces them that it was just a prank. The group blankly stares at him for a moment, but then laughs it off. Amaya texts Matthias, saying she doesn't want to come over. When more messages force him to convince Amaya to come at once, Matthias, on the verge of tears, tells Amaya that he cares for her and loves her more than anything. Amaya melts after seeing him so emotional and tells him she'll meet him soon. After some research, Matthias learns that the girl in the most recent video was Erica Dune, a 17-year-old who recently went missing. Still convinced it was a prank, Damon asked Matthias what if they had decided to take all the money. This gives Matthias an idea. Knowing the hacker is able to see and hear him at all times, Matthias transfers all his money to himself. The assassin tries to stop him, but Matthias completes the transfer anyway. He then tells him that he'll return the money when Erica is safely returned to her house. The assassin goes Matthias through Amaya's account and yells at him with a manipulated voice, telling him that he cannot let Erica go since it will get him in trouble. The river suddenly opens on the screen and Account starts telling Matthias to recite the code. The assassin completely loses it and forgets about his cover. He tells Matthias to return his things, but Matthias refuses, saying they'll both die if he does not give him the code. The assassin buckles and gives him the code. The Charon then asks a few more questions, which Matthias answers after the guidance from the assassin. The application then closes and the assassin disconnects the call. When Matthias returns to Skype, Nari tells him that she's found the girl from the last contribution video. Matthias tells her that he grabbed the video from a live leak, but this doesn't seem to convince her. An anonymous person then joins their Skype call through an account named Karen the First. In the blink of an eye, several more Karens join the call. A video is played on the screen, showing someone hacking into Lex's school records and revealing her whereabouts. They realize that Lex is not in the call anymore. They are then shown a video which Lex is standing on the roof of a tall building. Someone suddenly charges at her from the back and pushes her to her death. The others freak out and ask Matthias if that was real, but Matthias seems equally baffled. A command is then typed into the chat box to force kick Lex and a circle from the call. Amaya calls Matthias and tells him that she's almost at the subway. Matthias tells her not to disconnect the call at any cost. Though Amaya thinks he's acting weird, she does as she's told. When Lex doesn't pick up Nari's phone, Nari decides to call the police. Matthias panics and begs her not to do this, but she refuses to listen. As soon as Matthias notices that Amaya has lost connection, he blurts out the truth. He begs them to act naturally when Amaya gets back online, saying the assassin who's following her will have connections too, and will be able to watch them. Thus, when Amaya gets back online, they all play along. When the assassin asks Matthias about Lex, he tells him she's busy with her boyfriend. During another episode of connection loss, Nari tells him that her friend who's in the force is coming to her place. Matthias gives Damon access to the laptop so that he can copy the data and find the whereabouts of the missing girls. Amaya reconnects shortly after this. Nari leaves the room, saying she has to use the restroom. Karen joins their Skype call and again opens the Facebook page of AJ. A group watches in horror as Karen extracts pieces from the videos on AJ's page and manipulates them into a violent audio message, which he then plays to the police on 911. The police reach AJ's house soon after and tells him to surrender. While AJ walks to his door, Karen downloads gunshot sounds on AJ's computer and plays it on the loudspeakers. The police open fire from outside after hearing the gunshots, killing AJ in front of his door. AJ is then forced out of the call as the others grieve and wail. The assassin realizes that the Circle knows he lost his laptop and tells Matthias that everyone will now die. Matthias tells Serena and Damon that Karen is about to kill Amaya. Serena tells him that Nari can help as she's on her way to Amaya. Karen joins the call again and shows Serena the footage from 2 security cameras. One of her mother in the hospital, the other of Nari near the subway. He then tells her to choose as a countdown starts in the background. Serena starts to cry, begging him to stop it, but the countdown continues. When the countdown ends, while Serena has still not chosen, both Nari and her mother are killed in front of her eyes. Serena is then also killed in her house. Amaya tells Matthias that the subway has stopped due to an accident. Matthias tells her to go to the park and leaves the house on his bike to get to her. Now alone in front of the screen, Damon tells the person watching that he has extracted the coordinates of the laptop. The police will now be able to find all the girls. Karen opens Erica's video on the screen and replaces the assassin's face with Matthias's, as a person clad in black places a body in Matthias's closet. Matthias's mobile account is then forced-handed into the call. Damon tells Matthias that they've been set up for the whole thing, and they fell right into their trap. Karen force kicks Damon and adds Amaya to the call. Amaya tells Matthias that she's close to the building. When Matthias tells her that he wanted her to go to the park, Amaya tells him that she got a text from his number asking her to go to a new address. Matthias's video is then disabled by the hackers as they use the Papaya app to lead Amaya into the building. Amaya is forced kicked from the call after this, and Damon is added. A man is seen dragging Damon across his room before hanging him to his door. As Damon suffocates to death, a note is typed on his computer admitting his evil crimes. Matthias breaks down in the middle of the road. Amaya is then shown to him walking into a deserted building. A man approaches her out of nowhere and abducts her. A poll is then started, asking if Matthias should live or die. While the votes are being casted, Matthias is shown his house, where Erica emerges from his closet and starts begging for help. She reaches a hand for her forehead and takes off a bandage to reveal a gaping hole in her skull. She screams in agony and is forced kicked from the call. The poll results are revealed after this, according to which a majority want Matthias dead. A car then comes and crashes into Matthias, killing him on the spot. All the Karens from the murder scenes walk to the camera and wave as we are shown the game night being broadcasted live.
Like, share with friends, and subscribe to Free Terror TV.